Emojis are a global communication tool. People are using them all across the world. And of course, people from different cultures are using them across the world. And the emoji keyboard needs to be able to reflect the people across the world that are using emojis, which is pretty much everybody.
I think you'd be hard-pressed to find anyone on the planet who's not using emoji in one way or another. I think they're so popular because they're like they're a short form of communication. They're super convenient and can communicate so much more than like a sentence can in a lot of instances. You know, it's definitely like they're their own visual language. I like to say that they're like modern day hieroglyphics. You know, just like a string of images can, you know, say so much more than me talking.
I think there's a lot to love about emojis. You know, they're sort of immediate, so they're very quick, immediate. They're a visual medium. They kind of have like a universal meaning, but then they can also be very personal and individual depending on the conversation and depending on the people that are having the conversation. I think emojis also really help to keep things kind of lighthearted and colloquial. So there's a big difference between writing out like, "You make me smile," in a text message and then instead using an emoji. It just adds so much more to it, you know? So I think that's part of the appeal anyway.
I would never say use emojis, like you have to do it. I always say they're true with anything. Like there needs to be an idea first. Emojis on their own are not an idea. Don't use emojis because you want to use emoji. You know, make sure there's a purpose. You know, however you do that, like, you know, root it in some truth. You know, don't just tack emojis on the ends of copy on social posts or you know, throw them in your headlines. You know, make sure that there's a purpose for emojis to be there.
Don't use emojis just for the sake of using emojis because maybe you've seen other brands do it. You can always ask yourself, am I contributing to the conversation with what I'm going to say? Am I being timely? My top 3 is be authentic. So be true to yourself and your audience. Be creative. Try to push the limits of what the medium can do for you. Don't just settle for using it the way that it was intended. Try to flip it on its head if you can. And then be timely. Every generation gives a different meaning to their emojis. So even, you know, there's the whole thing. I think it was on TikTok where the crying face emoji was considered like a sign of being a millennial, and it's kind of like a bad thing in a way. And the solution to that is to have people from those generations involved in those projects. You know, one of the big things that I think we're talking about a lot at least in the agency environment, is diversity and inclusion. You're not going to be able to know those things and know what people are talking about thoroughly if you don't include people from different groups. And that means different age groups too.
I want to believe they work for everyone. That's just me. Like, yes, they're more prevalent and more used by, you know, younger people. But, you know, my mom uses them, and she's a grandma, and that's you know, how she communicates with me half the time. I don't get a text from her, you know, with sentences. I get a thumbs up, I get, you know, smiley faces, I get hearts, I get all the emoji under the sun. So I want to believe that emojis are meant for everyone.
If there were no emojis at all of our texts would seem very, very dry and potentially negative, because emojis allow us to add all the non-verbal information that we have at our disposal when we're talking face-to-face or on the phone, or even increasingly now on video calls. Hand gestures, of course, facial expressions, body posture. Emojis allow us to add symbols comparable to these pieces of non-verbal information into our text messaging and our social posts in a way that makes it more clear what the emotional intent of that message or post is.
Yeah, they're definitely not going away. I think they may evolve, I don't know to what, but I think they're gonna help. You know, they're already sort of like breaking down like language barriers. Like everyone knows what a heart represents. You know, everyone knows what a smiley face means. So I think, you know, if anything, emojis will just bring us more together.